I'm here today because my little boy, whom I love dearly, isn't with me, and he has been robbed of his father's love and presence for over 3 years. Reyansh is another victim of a crime that was not perpetrated by a stranger, but by his own parent. It was a calculated, malicious act committed to inflict maximum pain on me without any regard for Reyansh's well-being or rights. Parental child abduction is about our children. These are precious human lives, and they matter to me, to Adina, to Chris, Jeffrey, Avinash, Bindu, Vikram, Samina, Arvind, Tova, Manu, Nihar, George, Eric, Marla, Carolyn, Devin, David, Noel, Alyssa, Annie, Laura, and Vibur. And the list goes on. Our governments have failed to rise above their economic, security, cultural, and other geopolitical interests to solve what is a solvable problem. So here I am today presenting a victim's report card to rate our experience in terms of how a nation has acted to protect our children's rights and cooperated in their return using a rating scale that my son would understand. Really bad, not good, okay, good, and awesome. I would rate our experience in the United States as not good. And in India, unfortunately, as really bad. It doesn't give me any joy to say this, but after several decades of collective hardships faced by left-behind parents and our children, the dial on international parental child abduction just hasn't moved. From a parent's point of view, where is the leadership? Where is the urgency? Left-behind parents have been kicked around like a soccer ball from one courtroom to the next, from one government agency to another, from one elected representative's office to another, and by chance, if their stars align, the left-behind parent, like David Goldman, Noel Hunter, or Alyssa Zagaris, may get the support and justice they deserve. Otherwise, for most left-behind parents, we hit the repeat button and do this all over again. We are not demanding any special favors from our government, but when parents are being left behind twice, once by their abductor and then by our own government, to fight a state machinery in another country without direct and sustained US government intervention, it is no coincidence that for every Sean Goldman, there are hundreds of Ravi Parmar. The seeming lack of strong will, courage, and urgency across different parts of our government to address this human tragedy is baffling. It is troubling to see that the same state actors continue to repeat their bad behavior without any consequence because it appears we are too concerned about our economic, security, and other interests, which begs the question, who will be the beneficiaries if our children don't return? We urge our government to deliver the same kind of justice for our children who are victims of this terrible crime, including Albert, Alfred, Archit, Sivakumar, Reyansh, Nikita, Abdullah, Ishan, Indira, Trisha, Pranav, and dozens, if not hundreds of other American children currently in India. I will conclude with what David Goldman stated in his testimony before this committee in May 2013. These cases typically drag on for months, which soon turn into years as the abductor creates a home field advantage with endless appeals and delay tactics in their home country's legal system. This is the norm, not the exception. These cases are abduction cases, and laws have been broken. Let's remember that these cases are not custody disputes. Let us also be clear what we left-behind families are asking for. Some people mistakenly believe we are asking for our government to intervene in custody disputes. We are not. All we are asking is that when our children are kidnapped to thwart a proper resolution of custody, law governing their return to our country is upheld. When it comes to international law that deals with children abducted from United States and other lands, there is no rule of law. And the broken lives and broken spirits of left-behind parents across America, whom we represent here today, stand as a living rebuke to that failure to enforce the rule of law. The plain fact is that the nations who refuse to return American children pay no price for defying the law, and unless we arm the State Department with the tools they need to do their job, and unless nations who break the law flagrantly and repeatedly suffer real consequences, nothing will change. Nothing will change. After over 2 years, those words still hold true. The Department of State now has the tools in the Goldman Act to use them urgently and effectively to bring our children back. We are asking for action. We are asking that you bring our kids home. Thank you, Chairman Smith.